Singularity. What is a singularity?
Oh, I know what a singularity is.
Shut up, Doc, that's not the point!
Oh, I'll show you the point.
Well, anyways, the singularity I'm talking about is this game by Ravensoft.
Special thanks to Sonic Shuffler for donating the means to get this game.
I'm WizWar100, you're the viewers and I'm the reviewers, so let's review Singularity.
Singularity, made by Ravensoft, who I'm not particularly familiar with, except I think I might have heard of their name. So I took a quick rundown on the games they made. Alright, let's see right here. Black Crib, Shadowcaster, Cyclone, Heretic, Hexen. Oh, these are the guys who made Hexen. Heretic, Death King, Necrodome, Take No Prisoner, Mage Slayer, Hexen, Heretic, Soldier of Fortune, Star Trek, Star Wars, Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast. Oh, well that explains a lot. Soldier of Fortune, Star Wars, X-Men Legends. Wait, X-Men Legends? Didn't XCXCR do an incomplete LP of that? Not to imply that I finished all of my LPs.
Okay, enough about that. So what is Singularity about?
Singularity is a first-person shooter where time travel is involved, where you and a scientist must fix the timeline after discovering in an alternate timeline, Soviet Russia has taken over the world thanks to you, Renko, saving the life of a scientist named Nikolai and the discovery of an element called E99, leading to that victory and a whole lot of bad things happening like mutants roaming around.
Yeah, that's basically the plot. Time to go fix history.
The first hour or so of the game felt really bland because it just played out like any other generic modern shooter, but the game does pick up after that. Being a first-person shooter, you're going to be shooting a lot, from enemies and bosses with standard weapons like the pistol, assault rifle, shotgun, sniper rifle, and some not as common weapons like the autocannon, a minigun which is my favorite one to use, and some of the weapons have a second function like in Resistance, which is pretty neat. All of the weapons you can upgrade the clip size, reload speed, and the damage of the gun you want, except for the special weapons like the Seeker, which is a lot of fun to play with even if it is unoriginal, and the Rocket, with tech upgrades you can find or buy, which I don't recommend buying, throughout the game, and using it at the weapon lockers that are conveniently placed everywhere. I personally find upgrading the gun to be pretty pointless in the sense it's not really needed at all. It's pretty bland with the upgrade choices and it doesn't really make any sense if you think about it.
But since I'm not some online critic prick, I'm not bothered by these minor details in a video game. Because it's just a video game.
I do like being able to upgrade your weapons in any video game, it's just that it needs to be more meaningful and have some more impact. Kind of like upgrading the autocannon's ammo size so my ass kicking can last longer. And it's pretty sweet. Oh yeah, and some of the weapons are so useless compared to the automatic weapons that I never bothered to use them. Mostly because they have less ammo than the automatics. Now, while the weapon upgrades are lacking, the character upgrades do a lot better, with equipments, improving your character and his abilities, which are all done by finding the E99 units, along with other items like medkits and TMD vials throughout the game and using the E99 at the augmenters that you use to upgrade on yourself. I have to say that I didn't realize that you're supposed to equip the equipment upgrades when I was playing the game, because while I was playing it, I thought it was automatic and went through the game without realizing I wasn't using any of those effects until the end. I only noticed the small text saying equip when an upgrade said I have 2 slots available.
Oh, that was such a facepalm moment for me.
But it's nice to know I didn't really need it, but it would have helped if I had it. Speaking of equipment, you have the TMD, the Time Manipulation Device, which is a neat little device, or in this game, the plot device, that controls time and a few other things. It's not original, but it certainly is done pretty well and quite a lot of fun as I used it as much as I use my guns, which I don't do often in other games where I basically just specialize in one type of equipment. So, good job on that. The TMD has uses in puzzles which I thought for the most part were done pretty well, were clever, and that it required some actual thinking unlike other games where you just blaze through shooting everything. Outside of puzzle uses and other things like repairing objects, kind of like in the LEGO games, which was a pretty amusing thought, and it's only limited to certain objects that are radiated with E99, aka, you can only interact with specific objects that the designers want you to interact with. Gravity lifting things or using the chrono walk to see where to go next. You can use the TMD to fight your enemies with time-based attacks. Like my personal favorite, the Deadlock, where you fire a sphere that freezes any enemy that touches it and then unload hundreds of rounds into their skull and then watch them fall down when it's over. It's pretty cool actually. Another use I found was kind of using it as a shield to slow down bullets while I ran, which didn't work so well, but it felt like it did. You find upgrades for your TMD during your mission, and some of them are placed in odd locations, like, who left this upgrade station in the sewer?
Not to be picky or anything, but it was kind of weird that while I was in the middle of the sewers, I suddenly find an upgrade station for the TMD. I thought a gameplay story mechanic would have been like constantly going back to the doctor to get a new upgrade for your TMD, or at least somewhere a little more logical.
While we're on about location, you can use the environment against the enemy, but not a whole lot of it. On that note, the look of this game feels like BioShock and bits of Fallout and Metro 23 combined, which I quite enjoyed seeing when it wasn't giving me motion sickness.
Yeah, I got motion sickness. And I'm gonna be honest, Ravensoft, Singularity, and Jedi Outcast both gave me motion sickness. I don't know how you do your designing or programming for games, but that needs to change so that it doesn't give motion sickness. And that goes out to all other game developers too, because if you don't do it, you make me sick.
Granted, I did power through this game to the end despite the motion sickness, and it did get better when I was having fun and as it progressed to the end, so I might have gotten used to it eventually. But seriously, I almost stopped this review and the game in the early parts because I was literally feeling like I was going to vomit if I kept going, which almost held the game back. What did sort of held the game back for me is that there are no subtitles you can turn on, or at least none that I could find, which is kind of annoying because most of the time I couldn't hear what the characters or the many audio logs you find are saying. Oh yeah, I don't know why the game felt it was necessary to repair the audio logs because, well, it was kind of pointless. And that really bothered me when I tried to listen in on it, but couldn't, so half the time I missed out on bits and pieces of the story. But from what I was able to gather, it was a pretty fun time travel story. Not overly complex or original, but that didn't stop me from enjoying it. I also missed out on the multiplayer because it doesn't exist anymore if the server's gone, specifically on PS3, and there's no local play with other players, or bots at least, which is a shame because the multiplayer did seem kind of fun when I was playing around with it. The horror elements didn't work that well, and I bring that up because they say that this game has survival horror elements. I can see that, but it didn't really work out that well, not that it didn't try with flashback moments of what happened in the past and the death you find all over the place, but I just find that the game has too much action to be considered scary, kind of like the Fear games.
Overall, I thought Singularity was a pretty solid game. Despite some of the nitpicks and lack of multiplayer, it didn't overstay its welcome and its playtime length didn't drag on about 7 hours or so, which is good for me because of the motion sickness I was getting with this game. The first hour or so is really boring, but once you get past all that, Singularity does get better as it goes on, and I certainly enjoyed it afterwards. And I can definitely see why it was recommended to me. So, in that case, I also recommend that you go check it out. Or at least rent it.
And if you really like Singularity and want more, there is a fan base that is trying to get Singularity 2 released, and if the sequel is as fun as the first, but with more and improved things to add, then I would say support it. Just don't do what Resistance 2 did, because that sucked.
This is WizWar100, you're the viewers and I'm the reviewer, so stay tuned for more from WizWar100.